Today, I'd like to walk you through a process of vulnerable listening and forgiveness. During our session together, we're going to do a kind of guided intentional listening to the music that you love. Most of it is going to be done with your eyes closed, so if you're driving right now, please pull over if you want to actually do this exercise. There's going to be instructions and some information, as well as the guided listening experience. And once you practice this a few times, you won't need any of that, and you'll be free to do your own guided intentional listening. Let's begin by choosing a song you love. Any specific song that comes to mind and has some meaning for you is perfect. Choose your song now. Music is a big part of things like exercise, study, and relaxation, and in some cultures, even day-to-day activities like cooking and cleaning are set to music. Today, we're going to connect a specific intention with music: forgiveness. Hearing something is much different than really listening to it, but there's still plenty of power in background sound and rhythm. To ease your mind, an informal study was done on background music by Dr. Claudius Conrad, an oncological surgeon and classical pianist. He found that patients in his ICU who heard music playing, compared to patients in another ICU who didn't, had a 20% decrease in two stress hormones, healed more quickly due to increased levels of pituitary growth hormone, and needed half the pain medication of the people in the ICU without music. That's just hearing. Today, we're going to really listen to music, music you love. Research indicates that the most powerful music for each of us is the music we love. We're familiar with it. It's a part of us. So now that you've chosen a song, please let it begin to play in your mind. Can you hear the tune? If there are words, do you remember some or all of them? This is the start of bringing our attention to music, becoming fully present with it, really listening to it. We want to bring our full awareness to our listening. So as you listen, you can explore your awareness to the music more deeply by engaging each of your physical senses: sight, smell, touch, taste, and hearing. We'll do this somatic engagement with the music together as a guided listening process. But first, with your song still playing in your mind, bring yourself to a posture that complements your music. Sitting in a chair, hands folded, lying on your back, cross-legged, half or full lotus position, standing in hero's pose, maybe even dancing, whatever allows you to listen to your music in comfort without distractions. Once you've engaged your posture, close your eyes and continue to listen to your favorite song as it plays in your mind. Allow yourself to breathe easily in a way that seems to fit with your music. As you listen to your favorite song playing in your mind, invite yourself to see the surroundings in your imagination that fit well with the music. Maybe your memory supplies the visual imagery, or maybe it's completely imaginary, even surreal, swirls of color, gentle clouds, fireworks, whatever your sights, views, vistas, pictures, colorscapes, real life images, or imaginary pictures may be. Just invite those visuals to flow from your favorite song. Even with your eyes closed, do you see them? Now, as you listen with the visual imagery around you, invite your sense of smell to join with your musical and visual experience. What aromas show up for you? Baking cookies, the ocean, rain, roasting garlic, roses, earth, new car, cologne. Your favorite aromas are right there, waiting for you to connect them with your favorite song. Or not. Sometimes there's tension between what the senses imagine or experience, and the connections aren't obvious. That's okay. With practice, it'll come to you. Now that you've invited sight and smell into your listening room, take a moment to consider what you might touch or what might be touching you within this experience of your favorite song. Perhaps your favorite song is a love song, and you're listening with your intimate partner's hand in yours or in their embrace. If you're barefoot in your mind's experience of your song, perhaps you feel the earth, grass, sand, rocks, concrete, wood, or even ice under your feet. Maybe you're swimming in your song or making love to it. What are the full body sensations you experience? Are they hot or cold, cool, soft, or squishy? If this experience is new for you, just connect deeply with what you feel right now in your listening posture. The chair, the floor, your hands folded together, the temperature of the room, whatever your sense of touch brings to you. Now, is there a particular taste that goes well with your favorite song? Chocolate? Red wine? Mint? Bread? Spices? Smoke? Asparagus? Touch and taste can be tricky to excavate, but the memories are there, just waiting for you to engage them with your favorite song. What does your music taste like? As you hear your favorite song playing in your mind, what else do you hear? Maybe your experience of somatic listening has brought you to a specific place where there are other sounds in addition to the music, sounds of nature or a cityscape. What are those other sounds? Maybe you're also listening to the sound of your breath or heartbeat. Invite those additional sounds to join in with your music. Now you're really listening. Let it all play for a few minutes. Hit pause right now if you want to just be with that for a few minutes, and then come back when you're ready. Your physical senses are now fully engaged in the listening experience: sight, smell, touch, taste, and hearing. Rather than quieting the five senses, you've given them permission to be actively engaged in the experience of listening, which also brings you into full presence. When you practice this without my helpful but distracting voiceover, your listening experience will become even more full and personally aligned with your music. Take about 30 seconds now just to allow listening with full somatic engagement. If your song reaches the end, simply start the song again. Coming to full presence or full awareness of music in this way is the first part of intentional listening. Listening to a favorite song with the full somatic engagement of your five senses prepares you for the next part of this guided listening process: adding intention. Intention implies a purposeful, conscious choice. But as we did with somatic listening, before we're ready to activate a specific intention, we have to consciously engage the other aspects of ourselves beyond the somatic, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual. How do we engage music holistically like that? With your eyes still closed and your music still playing in your mind, consider with me how intentional listening builds on somatic experiencing. Somatic experiencing brings us to full physical presence and awareness, all of our physical senses engaged and active, which is a great place to become intentional. And that same music then functions as a powerful gateway for intention. Our practice now is to connect our music to our intention, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. How do we do that? As you continue to listen to your song playing in your mind, invite your somatic listening experience of the music to include physical intention. Think of physical intention as the trigger moment where dance music makes us move or relaxing music makes us stop moving. As you listen, let your mind begin to be curious. Ask yourself, what might my physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual intention for forgiveness be? For now, let this just be an unanswered question. We'll come back to it soon. As you release any demand that you answer that question, allow yourself to find any particular physical intention that seems to fit with or flow from your favorite song. For now, your physical intention could be as simple as just staying present in your listening posture, and that's perfect. For many of us, grounding our minds in a single intention takes work. That's one reason why we write down goals and make plans to achieve them. But to allow a mental intention to flow from our favorite music is almost the opposite of the goal setting process. Instead of conjuring an intention in our mind, we let the music lead to the intention. For the music playing in your mind right now, do you feel a certain kind of mental energy that fits well within it? If your favorite music has words, where do those words lead your mind? If there's a predominant mood in your favorite music as it plays in your mind, does that mood trigger any thoughts? Memory is a powerful thought magnet, and music often reminds us of thoughts connected to its memory. As you know, the mind can function as a sort of internal music streaming service, while also acting as a listening observer and commenting in real time on what it hears. It can offer you an abundance of ideas about the content of your somatic listening. For now, just notice those ideas as they flow, without necessarily grabbing onto any particular one. Simple observation of what we think as we listen might be the best intention for this listening moment. Your favorite music may have a subtle or a powerful emotional content to it. As you listen somatically, what are the feelings that arise for you? Emotions can be clingy and constant or flighty and fickle. Some we like and some we don't. For now, just notice the emotions that come through your favorite music as it plays in your mind. No need to direct them or organize them or even judge them. There's no reason to take action on anything you feel right now. Intention for this moment is simply to notice the emotions in the music as it plays in your mind. Now, consider your spiritual intention as you listen to your favorite music. If your music invites you to a deeper awareness of anything that's not physical, mental, or emotional, you're probably getting a spiritual invitation. Spirituality can be restful or marvelously active. Sometimes both rest and activity are part of the same spiritual experience. Whatever the genre of the song you're listening to, what is the spiritual invitation in it for you? To accept that invitation, you may need to momentarily release your intention from the physical, mental, and emotional experience of your music and explore the other private, internal ways your music acts on your whole being. For many of us, the spiritual intention in music takes the form of a simple question. What else is my music offering to me? We've reached the point in our listening process where it's time to bring your song to a close and prepare for the next phase of our process together. To do this, take a few moments to allow your favorite song to end naturally, either with a final cadence or as a gradual fade to silence. And then, when you reach silence, even though you may notice that your mind is still quite active, allow yourself to enjoy a deep breath as the echoes of your music fade away. Then, when you're ready, open your eyes. Now that we're back in the room together, it's time to move on to forgiveness. But before we do that, consider what it takes to really be forgiving. For this session, in a word, it takes vulnerability. Vulnerability is an ideal internal state or effect to have before deploying it externally as authentic forgiveness. Ask yourself now, what are some of the characteristics of vulnerability? It's a complex thing, isn't it? There's a light side and a shadow side to vulnerability. On the shadow side, it could be hesitant, cautious, risky, scared, anxious, unsafe, sometimes doubtful, sometimes powerless. But the lighter side of vulnerability is courage and curiosity and trust and hope. You can be expectant and accepting and peaceful, even serene when you're feeling vulnerable. To be authentically forgiving, we must first be authentically vulnerable. Can intentional listening connect us deeply to our vulnerability? How would that work? Now that you've briefly explored the state or effect of vulnerability, is there a song you love that speaks to you in that way? Vulnerability you can see, smell, touch, taste, and hear. Somewhere in your favorite music, is there a song that connects you deeply with courage in the face of fear, trust in spite of risk, curiosity that silences anxiety? Let's try this together. Choose a song from your personal top 40 that connects you deeply with how you experience vulnerability. It doesn't have to be a perfect match. Choose your song now. The experience of vulnerability is often really private and personal. The song you choose is your safe way to fully welcome your own vulnerability. You know how it goes. As we've already done, begin to play your vulnerability song in your mind. Find the best posture for this new kind of listening and then close your eyes. Begin to engage somatic listening and notice the sensory input from each of the five physical senses as they chime in with their response to the music. Now, since our intention is vulnerability, allow your vulnerable music to connect you with how you are at your most vulnerable state across all four aspects of your being: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Let each of those aspects of your vulnerable self have its voice within your music. As the music you've chosen for intentional listening with vulnerability plays in your mind, notice that your intention to be vulnerable is paradoxical. You may become aware of both anxiety and curiosity, risk and trust, fear and courage. That's perfect. That's what vulnerability is. Only when your inward facing physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual aspects are fully engaged with your vulnerability are you ready to activate the outward facing practice of forgiveness. Which is why intentional listening is so powerful. Practicing the connection of vulnerability to the song you've chosen creates and strengthens a durable neurological pathway to vulnerability that you can activate whenever you need it. And wouldn't that kind of richness in your vulnerability be a beautiful way to animate your forgiveness? To test your vulnerability with forgiveness, for this practice, choose some past situation for which you've considered offering forgiveness to another or to yourself, and within the music, let yourself express that forgiveness and experience the results of that forgiveness, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Do this without judgment and with gentle acceptance. And as you do so, just let your music keep playing. Remember the question about intention for forgiveness? By fully engaging yourself with your music for vulnerability, you've allowed yourself to discover your full realization of that vulnerability and deployed it as forgiveness. As we approach the conclusion of our time together, take a few moments now, while your music is still playing, to remember what we've done. We used our favorite music to somatically embrace listening. And from that place of full presence, we've connected our music with the intention of vulnerability. Then we used our full presence with the intention of vulnerability to activate authentic forgiveness. One of our human superpowers is that our systems don't discriminate between what we hear in our minds and what we hear with our ears, so this process is available to us at any time, with or without actual sounds we hear. Now it's time to bring your song to a conclusion. Offer yourself gratitude for what you've learned and compassion for how much more there is to learn. As your song ends, give yourself permission to take one more breath in silence. As you open your eyes, please know that the experience you've had has already become yours to keep and use. Anytime you need to remember parts of it, you can always refer back to this recording. Finally, thank you for our time together. You're the best part of this healing journey, and as you offer yourself this new way to come alive with the care for your well-being, be well, be blessed, and keep your music playing.